भाई चैतन्य निताई विश्वास करी भजो रे भाई पशु पाखी दूरे जार गुण गाथा पशु आई हे मनोदा देखो रे भाई त्रिभुवन नाई मन दयाल दाता देखो रे भाई ओ देखो रे भाई त्रिभुवन नाई दयाल दाता देखो रे भाई त्रिभुवन पशु पाखी झूरे पाषाण सुनी जार गुण गाथा पशु पाखी झूरे पशु पाखी झूरे पाषाण विराज गुण गाथा पशु पाखी परम करुणा निताई गौरचंद परम करुणा संसारे मझिया रहिले पड़िया संसारे मझिया रहिले पड़िया ओ संसारे मझिया रहिले पड़िया संसारे मझिया करम जाए सब लोचन दास अपन ओ अपना कलम भुंजाए समान कहे अधम दास अपना कलम परम करुणा साई गौरचंद परम करुणा साई गौरचंद सब अवतार सार केवल आनंद कंद ओ सब अवतार सार शिरोमणि केवल आनंद कंद सब अवतार शिरोमणि ओ सब अवतार सार शिरोमणि आनंद सब अवतार सार शिरो सब अवतार सार शिरो केवल आनंद कंद सब शिरो Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Jai Gaur Hari Gaur. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Jai Khoda Nitai Khoda Nitai Mayapur Shashi. Jai Khoda Nitai Mayapur Shashi. Jai Khoda Nitai Mayapur Shashi. Jai Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, Jaya 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 Sripad, 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 Srila Sripad, Jaya Jaya. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Srila Gurudev, Jaya Jaya. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura. जय जय श्री खोद निताय श्री मायापुर शशि चंद्र की, श्री प्रभुपाद की जय, श्री श्रीपाद गुरु महाराज की जय, समावेत निताय गौर भक्तवृंद की जय, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे। There is a special Shloka in glorification of Gaur Nitai. I hope everybody knows that shloka. The shloka which is the Mangalacharan of Chaitanya Bhagavat. Anybody would like to remind me of that shloka? Then we can begin with that glorification, invocation of the which describes the shloka which the shloka describing the glories of Nitai Gaur. Yeah, that is from Chaitanya Chaitamritam. It is from Chaitanya Bhagavatam, the first shloka, the invocation shloka of Chaitanya Bhagavat. Anybody knows? You must have heard. Because the Gaur Nitai is a Khoda Nitai and Mayapur Shashi Chandra, they are here. So there is a specific shloka in glorifying Gaur Nitai, which is the first shloka of Chaitanya Bhagavat. Anybody would like to remind me? Why I am asking this question? Because the Gaur Nitai are here. Every resident is supposed to know that sloka. Ajanulambit bhujau kanakavdatau sankirtanaika pitarau kamalayatakshav vishwambharau dvijavarau yugadharmapalau Vande Jagat Priyakarau Karunaavatarau. So this is in glorification of who? Huh? Gaur Nitai. Not just Gaurang. Not just Gaurang Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Bhagavata is about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But the shloka describes combined Gaur Nitai. So Ajanu Lambita Bhujau. The word Bhujau means for both of them. Ajanulambita bhujau kanakavdatau. The complexion is golden. The arms, go up to the Ajanulambita bhujau. Their bhuja means their arms go up to the Ajanulambita. Up to the. Can anybody get up and can touch their feet with knees? She's convinced without even getting up. Anybody try? Karthika, you tried already? Try. It would be a good experience. I tried many times, I failed a bit. Any exercise? Okay, get up. Okay. Can you touch your arms to the knees? You know. Ajanulambit bhujau kanakavdatau. Datau, kanka means golden. Avdatau means the complexion, the glamour, golden glamour. Sankirtanaika pitarau. Pitarau means in dvivachan. In Sanskrit, there are three: singular, dual, and plural. So two are specific. Sankirtanaika pitarau, unto the fathers. Father is generally said one person, but he has two fathers. Sankirtanaika pitarau, only fathers of Sankirtan movement. Kamalayatakshav, lotus eyed. Lord. Vishwambharau, the Vishwambharu means one who maintains the whole Vishwambharau Yuga. Vishwambharau, Vishwambharau, Yugadharma Palau, Vande Jagat Priyakaru, Karunavataru. Vande Jagat Priyakaru. They have come to bestow the ultimate good to the world. Karunavatar, such a most munificent manifestation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Nityananda Prabhu Nitai Mayapur. So, Vrindavandas Thakur, who is the Vyasadev of Chaitanya Leela, he describes the glories of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and non-different from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Nityananda Prabhu. Because the will of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became manifest through the actions of Nityananda Prabhu. You can see everything Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did, wanted to do, became manifested. And whatever Nityananda Prabhu sanctioned was definitely accepted by Mahaprabhu. And it was very convenient for Mahaprabhu to express his thoughts and what he wanted to do through Nityananda Prabhu. Nityananda Prabhu is like somebody so close, so confidential that whatever he does, whatever he says, it passes. Mahaprabhu cannot say no to it. And during all the childhood pastimes, once they met in Navadvip, later up to the Sannyas Leela and further Leela, Mahaprabhu's mission was established through the actions of Nityananda Prabhu. So, our lineage also, from Nityananda Prabhu. Gaur Kishore Das Babaji is a disciple in that lineage, and then disciple of Nityananda Prabhu, Gaur Kishore Babaji is Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and his disciple is Prabhupada, and we are all families of Prabhupada extension. So Nityananda Prabhu, through Nityananda Prabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu established his mission, and in every town and village, the message of Mahaprabhu Sankirtan movement got spread. And Nityananda Prabhu was so intent to establish the glory of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as a Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came as a most merciful incarnation. But the rascals in those days also were very like Jagai Madhai. So atrocities of Jagai Madhai on Nityananda Prabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu couldn't take it. So he just invoked the Sudarshan Chakra, we know that. And so the Lord, although he came with that he will just only distribute love of God, but when his devotees are attacked or devotees are offended, the Lord wants to break all his promises. But Nityananda Prabhu blocked him. Oh Lord, he decided that if these ruffians, most rogue like Jagai Madhai, if they can be delivered, then my title is a servant of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would be fulfilled. So he took upon himself that somehow he will cause the deliverance of these two Jagai Madhai by the mercy of Mahaprabhu. You know what? How much he went out of his way? He deliberately went there near them to be beaten by them. And the blood came out. And so, what happened then? The Lord had to come. He deliberately accepted the most offensive attitude, like beating somebody with the bleeding, bleeding beating. And then the Lord has come to kill the Jagai Madhais. At that time, he implores the Lord's mercy. Oh Lord, this is not your function. If you accept me as your surrendered soul, then you have to bestow mercy on them. Those who have hurt me, apparently. I don't take any offense. They also deserve your mercy. And I'm imploring you, please bestow your mercy. So, under the fervent prayer and request of Nityanand Mahaprabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted or bestowed his mercy upon Jagai Madhai in that episode. So we can see that Gaur Nitai together, they become most merciful because the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he sometimes he loves to break his promises, correct? Because he's supremely independent. He can make the promise and he can still. Nityananda Prabhu restricted him in expressing his anger. So that's how the any blemish, no blemish on the character of Mahaprabhu. If he came to bestow mercy only and if he beat even one person, it would be a blemish, correct? So Nityananda Prabhu protected Mahaprabhu from getting that blemish on him. So that's why together they are so wonderful. Vrindavandas Thakur is glorifying both of them. So please recite after me, and I wish that next time when I come, everybody has memorized this sloka. Ajanulambit bhujau kanakavdatau kanakavdatau Sankirtanaika Pitarau Kamalayatakshav Vishwambarau Dvijavarau Yugadharmapalau Vande Jagat Priyakarau Karunavatarau. Is it not the most beautiful sloka describing the glory of Sri Gaur Nitai? So, so it is like that, and it's just simply wonderful. Just whenever Gaur Nitai deity manifests, I like to recite this sloka. The sloka which we sang, Parama Karuna Pahudujana, that is also very, very exclusively unique to the sloka form. So, actually, just the very thought, it has not sunk still deep enough that we are here. I first met these divine personalities in February 90. And then 91, Guru Maharaj accepted us in his merciful fold. That was July 7th. And day was Srivas Pandit's disappearance day. Next day would be, can you tell anybody what would be the next day after Srivas Pandit's disappearance day? Okay, the Tithi is Dashami. Ekadasi. Which Ekadasi? Actually, spiritual question answer is like mathematics. You have to give only right answer. Guessing not allowed. And we say Yogini Ekadasi. Because that day event was such and I don't forget the date also because it was 7/7. Either way you count from Indian way, British way, or American way, it has to be July 7, correct? July 7 on that day was this Srivas Pandit's disappearance day. Next day was Yogini Ekadasi and like that. Now when after so many years, 20, 30 years I'm seeing, then I recall Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's this, his hands are little lower on the turban and this very much they bestowed their unlimited mercy. How much I could hold on to it, I don't know. But they really bestowed a lot of mercy and Guru Maharaj demonstrated his mercy also. So, as I stay in Vrindavan, traveling also in America, coming every year. So few years ago, how this connection here? Because of course this is ISKCON center. We can visit many ISKCON centers, but this was not in that regard that this temple I have to visit. Correct? Like Bhaktivedanta Manor is there, or and in the transit of 1 or 2 days, my niece lives in London. So she insists that I travel through her. So in a few years ago, 5, 7 years ago, this Anand Vigraha, they would visit Vrindavan during Kartik time, and we would just in Vrindavan, whoever devotees have some questions, answer, and we sit together, start discussing, and then the discussion goes for hours and hours. And so this is how Anand Vigraha got connected, because he's connected with you. So through him, we are here. So this is simple straight. But I have been seeing these deities every time some, on YouTube, correct? The lectures or program being, and I see them, but it's not that I recall, oh, these are the deities, unless it is later on confirmed that they came from San Francisco. The temple address was 84 Carl Street, San Francisco. Because I went from Los Angeles to San Francisco to become initiated. That memory is very vibrant, but somehow could not inquire about because temple closed down, that I know, but where the deity went, I had no idea. So when our Kartikeya, he found in one collections, Guru Maharaj doing Arati of Gaur Nitai. And I said, Gaur Nitai doing, yeah, yes, wonderful. Guru Maharaj installed these deities in the temple, and so then it became fully confirmed that yes, it is a deity which in front of whom I got the initiation. So it's a very sweet memory, and the Lord who bestowed mercy upon this this most ordinary fallen soul, So, and they are bestowing mercy upon all of you. So we have something common, right? So when we have something common, we can meet, we can grow together. So that bond I feel with all of you. The Lord who bestowed His mercy in 1991, and I somehow became little not so directly connected. Of course, their mercy is all pervading, but directly from them, the mercy you have been receiving. So definitely, you have received much more mercy than me. In few times, how much I can receive, but you have received for many, many years. In that regard, I feel you richer than me. And it is the advice in our Vedic wisdom that one should associate with those who are superior or greater than you. So I feel that you are definitely richer than me. So I love to associate with you. Nonetheless, mm, my desire and wish is that I want to know how the Lord, in their own way, Krishna has his way, and everyone else becomes an instrument to fulfill his way. No matter willingly, unwillingly, knowingly, unknowingly, consciously, unconsciously, grudgingly, his will be done, and we inevitably become an instrument. However, we want to go against it, we cannot. Circumstances, situations, some accident, some telephone call, something happened, and something well designed in our plan, it just shatters. The Lord wish to come, so I would like to hear from you how the Lord's journey from California here, and how, as much as you don't share, I will like to keep in my memory. The Lord in whose presence I received the full mercy of Guru Maharaj. Of course, they are the source of all mercy. Guru Kripa is also the source, is Gaur Nitai, correct? It's wonderful.
Is that in the San Francisco temple that you got into?
Yes.
Was that the first temple that they were installed in?
Yes. Yes. The big temple was in Berkeley. And then Guru Maharaj, because he wanted some setup for Bhakti Vedanta Institute, scientific preaching. So in San Francisco, there are a lot of universities. So, like in those days, I attended the 1990 San Francisco conference, the first conference on life comes from life. That, so I went to assist His Divine Grace, like that. So those memories. 17th and 18th of February, 1990.
You were with the Bhakti Vedanta Institute at that time?
Yes, yes. Because how I got connected with Guru Maharaj. This is my story. Thank you for asking. It's just so many things. It's just when they want to come, they come. So I was just like a almost lost soul in Los Angeles, uh, but I never gave up the association of devotees. Although I studied in Los Angeles and means in America, in Los Angeles, I was about to get for further admission, but in the meantime, I had this. The opportunity to associate with devotees. They came to my university and they were distributing book table and khichdi prasad. And they did it and they handed me a visiting card, Sunday Love Feast. Uh, One of my friends there, he just took me to Los Angeles temple. He dropped me and said, I'm going to the airport to see my uncle. Monday morning, I will come back, I will pick you up. So that was the initial connection. So as I appreciated devotees, how much they blessed me, how much they supported and encouraged me. And I didn't have like a spiritual aspiration or anything of that sort. But, whatever background from coming from India, like regular person, but devotees very much encouraged me. So they say, well, you are associating with devotees coming to Mangala Arati and in Bhagavatam class, all these things. So, looks like you are serious. So if you are serious, you have to become initiated. Initiation was not at all an option for me. Never thought about it. And what is this? But devotees' encouragement was there, and I was serving Srila Prabhupada's quarters in Los Angeles. Apart from my going to university and some jobs just to maintain, simple. So they say you have to, we want to train you, use you, and like that. So then there was a devotee from India staying in Los Angeles temple itself, Padmalochan Das. So I asked him, Prabhuji, you are initiated, and they are asking me again and again, head Pujari and the president both. They used to call me Govindaji, because you have to become initiated. So I asked him, why this initiation is so necessary? Then the devotee Padmalochan Das ji said, yes, if you are serious, you have to become initiated. So I told him, who should I become initiated by? Then he said, well, there are many who are giving initiation. There were a lot of sannyasis regularly coming to Los Angeles in the 80s, mid 80s. And so all speakers, I found them very fascinating. They have so much knowledge about the Vedic literature and everything, and which we coming from Vedic Indian background, we don't know much. Although by practice we may have recited few slokas and few chapters of Bhagavad Gita, but what is the real message of Bhagavad Gita? Surrender to the, that was not in the. So then I asked him, could you suggest me something? Who should I become initiated by? He said, there are many in ISKCON, there are many gurus who give initiation. I said, but who should I become initiated by? So I'm asking you, you just make a choice. Because that was little bond, because he was from India and Bengal, so I thought he's very senior in this path, and he is associated with many devotees. Someone he has a special feeling or special honor. Although he was initiated by one Maharaja who then later on did not stay. So he was a little distraught, of course, I can see. But then he said, well, I know one person. He's a scientist. He's a scientist, and he's from Manipur, Impal, and he was very dear to Srila Prabhupada. So I share my experience here. The moment he said that he was very dear to Srila Prabhupada, then spontaneously I just cried. Then I want to serve him. It's like a thrill entered my heart. One who has endeared himself to Srila Prabhupada, now why I have to use my so-called intelligence to figure out who is better? If Srila Prabhupada is. So that was my connection. I never heard about my spiritual master. Even if I heard, I didn't know what he looks like, what he does, anything. And I right away made the decision. And I want to serve his divinity, because now I cannot serve directly Prabhupada in the Vapu, but one who endeared himself to Srila Prabhupada, I think I must serve him. So that was the kind of, I feel the revelation in the heart. Then immediately I wrote the letter to Guru Maharaj. That was, month was February of 1990. So his divine grace received my letter. Then he called the president, and then I received. Yes, Guru Maharaj, Dandavat Pranam. I received a letter, and you come come and assist me in the conference. The conference is in, so they were the first. So I went to San Francisco and slowly and gradually built up. And next year on that day, because Guru Maharaj used to travel a lot. So after the conference, he again traveled when he came back. Somehow 1 year passed and next year these deities blessed. So how the devotees who came here, and when there was some fire or some incidents in San Francisco temple, they saw the deities were protected and brought here. Take over. No.
So, Pastor Nitai, so the Trinabhavan was, just for a background story, Trinabhavan was started in November 86.
This one?
Yeah, we didn't have this building at the time, we didn't have any deities. But we did have one deity. Trinabhavan is named after one shalagram called Kriya.
Mm-hmm. They are one of the shaligrams. I saw the shaligram.
No, that shalagram originally was given to Srila Prabhupada when he visited South India by head of the Ramanuja Sampradaya.
Wow.
And it was the first shalagram in Islam. So Prabhupada received that gift from that head of the Sampradaya and gave it to Jumna, his disciple. They told him how to worship simply with Ganga Jala and Tulsi.
Wow.
And then that shalagram went to Jayatirtha.
Mm.
And then after some time, that shalagram ended up in Soul Street, wasn't being worshipped. So the temple president of Soul Street at that time was Bhagavat Shrine. Prabhupada disciple. And he phoned up the then temple president, spiritual master, Hugh Balabandra, and he said, and Kurunsundi was a well-known shalagram in Islam, especially in the UK, because Jaitirtha worshipped him, and he didn't yield himself to the devotees in the UK, but he was not being worshipped. So he said that Kurunsundi shalagram is here in Soul Street, if you want to worship him. So we took on that personal worship. And he continues to this day. He lives somewhere else in Scotland. So this place is named after the deity Kurunsundi, called Trinabhavan.
Yes.
That deity, of course, Prabhupada said that each shalagram can be worshipped with Krishna, but according to the markings, he was a Rana Ram Shila, King Ram Shila. And so we had, although we didn't have any actually full-size deities, and we became very much somehow or another, even though we were young devotees, we didn't find it difficult to relate to the shalagram. Very quickly we became quite attached. And for the first 12 years of Trinabhavan, then we had a big that on the altar.
Mm-hmm.
We were quite happy with that. So, according to the verse we discussed now on the from, I'm not sure if it was Lord Nityananda or Vishnu Priya. I think in the Nimaya Vanadi it shows Vishnu Priya, but I believe it was Lord Nityananda who said, Bhajaguranga Kahaburanga Lagaranga Namari, Jajana Kuranga Bhajasya Pranamari. So one who worships the Lord, chants his name, takes the Lord into his heart, he becomes my life and soul. So this was the sentiment of Lord Nityananda. If you want to get Lord Nityananda's mercy, then get out the name of Lord Chaitanya. So that, in connection with Prabhupada's statement, when he arrived first of all in the West, he wrote this poem, and in that poem, marking by the term, he said, the holy name of Gauranga will be spread throughout the town village. Along with this purport that Prabhupada gave in Chaitanya Church in Rita, where he speaks about before chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, one should chant the mantra in order to free from offences. So because of a certain amount of stigma with the Hare Krishna movement, and some people maybe not so qualified to chant Hare Krishna, and we thought, okay, if they chant the Lord Chaitanya's name first, and look at the base of Lord Nityananda, then they become qualified to chant Hare Krishna. So that was the philosophy behind it. It wasn't like something up or something.
Too much humility. Huh?
Hmm?
Too much humility.
Too much humility.
We have to become qualified to chant Hare Krishna.
So the idea was that they could chant Lord Chaitanya's name and simply make advancement without making any offences. So we went on a campaign where, I don't know if you get any pictures of the Garanga buses, etc. So we went on what we called the Garanga campaign, where on Sankirtan we'd have stickers, we'd sell books, and we'd ask people to say Garanga and give them a sticker. But people wouldn't just say it and shout it very loudly at the top of their voice. And it came to the point where when people would see the devotees on the street, even if it was like 100 yards away, they would just shout. And it became so much widespread. The devotees had put Garanga posters on top of the motorway bridges so that thousands and thousands of people passing by underneath would see the holy name of Lord Garanga. And so many stories connected with that, which is another story in itself. And it became well known throughout the whole of Scotland, north of England. So much so that even sometimes in the newspapers there was one joke, because in Glasgow there's this rivalry between two main football teams, Celtic and Rangers, and they use these offensive slogans against each other. And it's not a friendly rivalry, it can be quite times. So there was some ban putting on the teams couldn't use sectarian chants. So they showed you the cup final. It was in Glasgow Herald in Scotland, one of the broadsheet newspapers, one of the most known newspapers in the country. And it showed you a joke with the cup final, with no sectarian chanting. It showed you an empty stadium except for a few Jehovah's Witnesses and some Hare Krishnas chanting Garanga, because it was a non-sectarian chant.
Wow.
You got it there.
It's one of the buses.
Wow, really
You have it.
amazing. These are real ones, huh?
Yeah.
How many years ago was it?
This was in 90.
It was
93.
so such a euphoria. Huh?
Yeah, probably from like 93 through to
Amazing,
96.
really.
The biggest cities in Scotland.
Yeah, so we had the picture will come up on the screen in a minute. So Balaban, who has this idea to just give the whole name of Lord Garanga indiscriminately in order to get the news of Lord Nityananda. So as well as putting posters on bridges, we commissioned bus companies to put artwork and Garanga on double-decker buses and single-decker buses. And you would commission them, you would pay for a year, and they'd keep it on, and then if you wanted to stay for another year, you'd have to pay them. But there was one double-decker bus, which you just seen a picture of. We paid for a year, and then they called and said, "Okay, your year's up, do you want to pay again?" We said no, but they left it on for about another 7 years. And there was so much life. People used to like it on. I was on your Garanga bus the other day. One guy told me that actually there was one funeral they went to. The guy was quite popular. They hired a double-decker bus. It was a Garanga bus who took everyone in the funeral. And I was doing book distribution in Edinburgh next to the castle, and I met this African family. So saw them a book and asked them to say Garanga. They said, "Oh, Garanga, that's on our buses in Kenya or wherever it was." I said, "No, I don't think you must be mistaken. You must be like maybe some language similarities." And then I said, "Well, describe it," and they described it artwork. I said, "Yeah, that sounds like it." It turns out the bus company who owned those buses, which we had advertised through, they sold their old buses to certain places in Africa, so they're probably still running around. And even people, one time I was doing books in Paisley, and I heard somebody say to me Guranga, and then someone, and I thought it must be talking to me, so I turned around and he was talking to his friend. They didn't even know that the Hare Krishna was standing there doing books, because it had become a meeting and parting phrase that people were using.
Wow.
So there's one of the buses there. I had quite a number of these. Also, Glasgow has a subway, an underground, and on the advertisement panels there. We used to do Guranga festivals. So there's so much calling of Guranga from the devotees and people on the street. It was becoming such a buzzword. And even the people in the advertisement industry were saying, oh, you're reaching saturation point. But we know that it's the holiday, so there's no saturation point. So we kept the campaign going. And with all that chanting of Guranga, so in 1996, after the GBC meetings, and then it was determined that the deities in San Francisco, there had been some trouble to maintain the temple, and there was a fire on the altar, there was some, so they were put to rest and they were looking for a new home. And at that time, Balbharata was in Mayapur, and he offered that we could serve the deities. So we thought, usually these things, take some time before they get the thumbs up and communicating back and forth, etc. And Ram Navami was fairly shortly after the Mayapur GC meetings. So we'd been on Sankirtan on Ram Navami and we came back, and I think this date is very significant because the original deity was Kunasindhu, Lord Ram. Kunasindhu meaning ocean of mercy, which also means Lord Chaitanya, Kunasindhu, ocean of mercy. So in Ram Navami, we just arrived back in Sankirtan, we had a bus, and we drove in, and I was told, okay, everybody on the bus, trying to turn the bus around, we're going to pick up the deities. So we just got no notice whatsoever. And so we drove to Glasgow Airport on Ram Navami, signed the papers, and got the deities. And it was significant because our main deity had been a Ram, Shiva, and he'd appeared as Lord Chaitanya on Ram Navami.
Jai, Jai, Jai.
We felt this was the Lord manifesting himself according to the cries of the Scottish and Northern English public and devotees. And so as we went to pick up the deities and had all their paraphernalia there and their clothes, etc. And I was thinking they were very dirty at that time. I didn't know there had been a fire, but and they were in a big crate. They couldn't fit that crate in the bus, so we had to take them out. And it seemed like they wanted to give their darshan to Scotland on the way back. They were sitting in the bus seats coming back. A wooden bus, not like a public bus. So meanwhile, Sindhu, you became the head pujari almost instantaneously, right? So basically we came back, as Balbharata and I went to pick up the deities, to give some instructions to Prabhupada at that time to set everything up, whatever that meant. And to you can see what happened.
Well, earlier that day, the accountant at the time, Baron Jern, she received a really strange phone call from the immigration in Glasgow Airport saying, there's a couple of big packages here for you. You need to come and collect it. And it was very random. So she went to Balbharata and says, they're saying that. He goes, oh, that must be the deities. And the only vehicle we had at that time was the minibus, which would be big enough. So they had to wait a few hours. And as he was running out the door with a couple other devotees to bring the deities back, he shouted at Prabhupada, tell her and Sindhu to set up Abhishek, full Abhishek, she'll know what to do. Well, I actually didn't have a clue what to do. So out comes the Archana Padati reading all that, okay, we need Ashna, Madhuparka? Do we have the ingredients? Do we have anything to make up this setup? So we set it all up. And then a couple hours, well, less than a couple hours later, they came in with the deities. And we didn't have any idea what size they were or anything, because there had been no description given to Balabhadra Prabhu about the deities. It was just Khoda Nitai from San Francisco are coming to Scotland.
Wow.
So there was nothing for them. So they were put on a big table in Karuna Sindhu's room, and we gave them a quick wipe down, looked through their clothes very quickly, and of course, now knowing that there was a fire, we were quite surprised that everything had been bundled up. And I think that there was a lot of damage to the outfit. So we found something quickly, put it on, did the quick Madhuparka, Achman, Parity, invited them to Karuna Garden, did a little offering. I think there was a couple of ladies in the kitchen cooking up a big feast for them, and that wasn't ready on time. So you had a whole temple of devotees running around trying to accomplish something that we didn't actually know what to do. But the end result was, I think by about 9:30 that night, the deities had come, they'd been dressed, they'd had an offering, and they were then put to sleep.
Right.
Again, we didn't actually know how to do this. Balabhadra was teaching us as we went along. Now, I came to Scotland in 1990, and so did Jaggi, Jagannath there. And all our training at that time was Balabhadra Prabhu had decided that we should be ready for deities coming. So we were always being trained that cleanliness, punctuality, and then we used to do like the backup of his own deities. So we did have the training for that. We just had to learn all the procedures. So the next morning, Mangal Arati, you're doing everything from a book that you've never really read, the procedures, and Balabhadra saying, no, this is how you do it. Okay? Learning, dressing the deities for the very first time. And it was basically about 3 or 4 of us doing 3 offerings, 3 cookings, waking them, dressing them, putting them to sleep. And then Balabhadra says, okay, nothing's ready. We don't have an altar for them. We don't have a temple room that's prepared for them. We have 1 week to make it happen. And 1 week later was going to be Balaram Rasya. And that was the day he had chosen for them to move into the temple room. So the whole temple became part of redecorating the temple room. A couple of devotees built the altar, got curtains, painted
Not
the
this altar.
not this altar. It was just a big thick marble altar.
Platform.
So that's one of the first outfits that
Yeah.
you made.
No, I didn't make that. That came from them.
One that came with them.
Yeah, and amazingly, that altar and the temple room was ready for a week later, exactly. And I opened my big mouth and said, oh, I could maybe sew them an outfit. I had never sewn anything before like that. I didn't know what I was doing. Balabhadra Prabhu says, you can sew an outfit as long as it's completely ready. We're not having any of this, the back of the deity showing, using pins. It has to be properly closed. So I managed to make some outfit. It was basically use once and don't use again. But it was it was a time where a whole temple of devotees that didn't really have a clue what they were doing in every area came together to get everything ready for deities.
Enjoy. Amazing.
And just before that, we found out years later from a devotee called Jai Jagannath. I don't know if you ever met him, Irish devotee. So he also got a message from that he was in India at the time. He's from Ireland, and he said, okay, you have to go to San Francisco to worship God Nitai because they don't have any pujaris there. Being a surrendered soul, and he did that. Didn't have a good puja, didn't have a good anything basically. So he went down. He was making mashed potatoes for the deities. He was thinking it'd be nice if I could learn how to cook. And the very next day, some expert cook arrived and showed them how to cook all those preparations for the deities. And another thing, actually, when the GBC had decided the deities were to be moved, then they were put to rest and were working out all the packaging, etc. They had a dream where Lord Nityananda came to him and said, we're going on a long journey, you need to feed us. And he was thinking, the deities should actually have a feast before they go, but they don't have any money. Somebody arrived the next day and offered to sponsor the feast and had a great big feast because the deities had already goes to give them a good feed before they went. So there's a description of some of Jagannath's pastimes there. There's a few occasions where actually the deities came to him in a dream and gave him some instructions. So I just wonder if Jagannath, do you want to speak something about the deities? So Prince India was the first head pujari born in the deep end, typical ISKCON fashion. I think it was because she pretty much grown up in ISKCON in South Africa, and she'd been in the pujari department doing many things behind the scenes. Then okay, it was something to do with the she'd thrown in the deep end. So that's a warning for all of you devotees. That's typically how the Lord gives you advancement.
Yeah.
And in due course of time, then Jagannath became head pujari, and she's been head pujari now for about 14 years, I think. Pretty much 15.
I didn't really study deities when they first came, because I wasn't Brahmin initiated at that time. And then 2 years later, I got my Brahmin initiation, so then I could do service for them, so I wake them up. And Prince showed me how to do offerings and arties and put them to rest. So my main service was basically waking them up. I thought Love Gopal waking up in the morning, cooking breakfast. Just helping out with all the different services between us and then putting them to rest at night. And this went on many years until we got here in 1999, then we moved the deities up here. And then I was still continuing on with the same kind of services. And then Shaman came. The issues for us. There was another lady who was head pujari for about a year, and then you were. So then when she left, I became the head pujari. 2009 or something. 2010. And then in 7 since then, blessing the deities, waking them up, blessing the deities, giving them cooking, putting them to bed. In a long journey, blessing the pujaris. And they, because they had been there from the fire, they had been quite a bit of damage. And there's an artist from Hungary, Carol Lakshmi, who Balabhadra invited over, and he had asked her to paint them. And it wasn't just a matter of, okay, go in there and paint the deities. It was an intense month of praying for them to try and manifest how they wanted to look. So that's the pictures you see of them repainted up after they came from San Francisco.
And that's one customized car we got done, which had to run all over it. And so we used to drive that out in Sankatan and the real head turner. Such in 2CV. And they also, in Scotland, they have this another thing, parking, late. So we registered with the register of tartans. We painted our own tartan called Orangutan. And so we got that in the car, and it was part of the community campaign. Yes, so also recently we just painted them again. Actually, we didn't realise how badly they were damaged by the fire until you had to clean them, right?
Yeah.
And then after all, they didn't realise that they were quite blotchy and patchy. And I think we had them for, was it maybe a year, and then they were repainted. So it's been over 20 years since they were repainted last year. I'm still drying. And the small Gornitai, the boots of Gornitai, they're not the original ones which were there in San Francisco. The original ones were a lot smaller, but Belvedere wanted small boots of deities which were invisible, because sometimes boots of deities just don't get looking on the altar, you know, they just get ignored. Nobody looks for big deities, and the little ones there, hide behind the flowers. And so we wanted them to actually look like the big deities so the boats could relate to them. So we have done for a while, but on occasion we have a palanquin, we take them out and
All deities are actually brass deities that were painted as close as possible to the big deities. Because sometimes when you get new guests and you're saying these are the same deities and they look so different, some of them they just can't see that it can be different. So we wanted them to be as close to the big deities, so there wasn't that difficulty for people to understand.
Wonderful.
so we used to also have, at one time we had more pujaris, various events to which left go different places. So we had very elaborate offerings, and so much maha. We had many more offerings throughout the day, and each offering was a little more opulent. For 78 nowadays, it's quite simple in comparison. So as you devotees become more qualified, become initiated, might find yourself on the altar, bringing back to the higher standard of worship which was once there. But as they're going to time, then the worship can be simple, and Gornitai, they're particularly interested in the Sanctime movement, spreading of the holy name, distributing books, getting a prasadam. So Lord Chaitanya, he didn't, just like in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, we do that Leela of the Naya Sankirtan, when Lord was having kirtan behind closed doors with his associates. Now, everybody was in ecstasy, chanting with Lord Chaitanya and Panchita, etc. But Lord Chaitanya wasn't looking too happy. He said, I didn't come for this. And they were puzzled and said, what do you mean? Ecstatic. I didn't come with a kirtan behind closed doors. I came that we could spread it everywhere. So at that point, the Sanctime movement started. So our service to Khoda Nitai Mayapur Shashi, it's not just that you have to be on the altar or in the kitchen to be serving their mission, it's serving their mission. So whether you're initiated, not initiated, first, second, third, then the mission is actually the important thing. That's what really pleases them. So everybody can serve them. And we just have to do some service to help push forward this Sanctime movement. So that's one early picture of Lord Nityananda. We can see the smoke damage there. That's how they looked back in the early days. Usually they were standing upright, but defying gravity here, it's going to be lost in the air. Yeah, another picture. Well, that's,
Wow.
as yeah, it helps you stand in the centre there. You can almost see it, and I'm just right behind him. That's Khoda Nitai back in the days of 1987.
Yeah.
That's one of the Garanga bridges.
We did it on the railway line.
Oh, that's Malaga, that's in Spain, and that's the original Shawgram in Sundu. You'll see that it says Malaga, so actually some devotees actually went to Spain and put Garanga coasters up in bridges as well.
And they're on railway bridges because they were steel.
Mhm. Yeah, there's some very interesting stories regarding that.
Yeah, I know.
So that's Mohammed and the small Glorification, the original Utsav festival deities there. This is down the original altar. Mohammed again. Then we'll get anything you want to share about the deities. Anything else?
I didn't serve the deities so much. I did the charity department. I was serving the deities on the Sankey campground. But we were having our problems with the police, so we used to have the saying, when we saw the police, we would say, "I swear." And then everyone would take the notes to hand in the back, put it on the soft, and if we got caught, we couldn't get all the money off us. But then when the deities came, we noticed we weren't having so many problems anymore with the authorities. We were able to do a full day on Sankey time without getting chased around. And everything started to become a lot easier to do for the book distribution. So that was my experience of the difference that made when the deities came, that it made the book distribution easier for us to do. So,
Jai. Jai.
When we got this building here, it was just a dilapidated barn that we used to keep animals in here. Concrete pens, etc. And this one was just a small doorway. When we got this, we were told just to like knock that wall down, open up this, take away this, and this is what we ended up to begin with. That was the temple. And then a few years later, then we did this with it. So it was interesting because we were collecting a lot of funds at the time, but we were giving away. We gave a lot to different temples like Hungary, Kazakhstan, etc. And Govinda Maharaj, Bibi Govinda Maharaj came here personally to thank us one time and seen the humble temple that Khoda Nitai Mayapur Shashi were in. And he was brought to tears. He said that actually you guys could have one of the most fantastic temples in Islam, but you're just giving everything to everyone else. And I think also it's the deities are very kindly accepting this humble situation here because they're more interested in the mission. Even Prabhupada, I was reading before we got around the hall, we actually used next door yoga barn, which wasn't even as good as it is now. It was so messy, just got a big tent inside it. It was a bit of a hazard. So we'd saved up some funds, and I read Krishna Maharaj had a similar situation where they had funds to build a temple, but there was more people coming to the temple, and Prabhupada says deities can come later. And first of all, build facilities for guests, so therefore we built it around the hall.
Yeah.
But I would like sometime that we can actually build a very nice temple for the deities here because they're so humbly accepting this painted barn. And this is the small Khoda Nitai Mayapur Shashi, which is what you call Prima Manjari worships at home still. You can see the bases are painted quite differently from how they are now. And the lotus feet of the deities, so she did an amazing job of bringing out the deities. This is one of the probably millions of posters we have. There's an interesting Goranga pastime. There's a Goranga bridge. I think that one's in Hanley, New Stoke. Remember that crossover bridge? So we've been doing this Goranga campaign for some time, and it wasn't always legal. Sometimes we were flag posting around the place and putting up stickers, and probably somewhat making a incidental public nuisance of ourselves. So in Gordon, the old temple down the road, Gordon Arty, we were packed in the small room, jumping up and down, chanting, Nitai Mayapur, Nitai Mayapur. The chief of police at Strathclyde comes to the front door telling us to stop the Goranga campaign, and we say, I don't know what you're talking about. And of course, he said, well, anyway, stop it. But I think it was actually Gordon Nitai's mercy to bring the chief of police to the temple of Gordon that Gordon to hear the voice chanting Nitai Goranga. He must have been getting so much complaints and all this Gorangas going on through his head that the Lord brought him to the temple of Gordon. So, and just before we got this glorified wooden box here, as Shiva Ramaj would call it, once we told management, we'll put a new altar, we're all found it. We said, it's just a wooden box. If anybody knows Maharaj, then you know his level of devotion and offering to the Lord is quite unparalleled. And so it's best we could manage at the time. But prior to that, then we had a much more simple situation in the days. So any other pictures?
This is the last one. This is the last one.
That's us.
Okay.
Does anyone get anything else you want to share or any questions?
Wow, these are beautiful. They are manifesting that.
And we also 99% of the outfits which are made by the ladies are made here and by Trinity. Occasionally one gets made overseas, but we tend to like to make our own outfits. Prabhupada was very much in favour of that too. Radha Landeshwara, the devotees were making outfits. That was an offering from the devotees, not just simply to go and buy something from somewhere. But that can also be nice, but this is a nice offering. We've also tried to grow all the flowers that we can offer for the deities, which is a bit of a task in Scotland. Except for recently, Tesco has been giving us lots of flowers, so Tesco supermarket is getting a lot of advancement by donating flowers for the deities' gardens. If you back a few pictures, you'll see the original altar we had between above the big picture of Panchatattva for Khoda Nitai Mayapur Shashi.
Yeah.
That one, yeah. So that was down in the old altar, which is now called the studio. So at that time we also put the books on the altar. This was possibly during the Christmas marathon. So you can see the Goranga at the front of the altar, in the height of the Goranga campaign. And there's a small picture of Alona Jananda on the left, which apparently was commissioned. I had it commissioned by Maharaj Prataparudra, who painted Lona Jananda at the time when he was present. So this is how Lona Jananda looks. A small black and white picture to the left of Radha Landeshwara.
Right. Wow.
And there's another thing there on the altar because run Jesus.
All right, so that might have been Singh Chaturdashi, because that dated Lord Singh, which is in office at the moment, was Mother Ranji's deity in her room. So it's most likely Singh Chaturdashi. But the books were on the altar because at that time the temple basically was so focused on the distribution that just all the books that we were distributing, we'd always keep them on the altar. Whenever we get a shipment, and then we'd offer all the books to the deities first. Anything else? As unlimited Goranga stories we could tell, but I guess we didn't want to wrap up about midday, so I'll close to that.
Jai.
I'm grateful to Maharaj for coming here. If we heard that these deities were here, then his plans were changed. and everyone has a craftily persuasive. I think he must have did, held debate in front of Maharaj. Mayapur Shashi in Scotland. Well, I better come up then. So we're very grateful, Maharaj, for changing his plans and coming up here to give us some association. Very happy here.
I feel so blessed to have your loving association.
And we hope this will be the first of many visits.
Of course. Every time we come to London, we'll be here.
I think it's every time you come to Scotland, you might visit London.
Yeah, I think we have to check the direct flight to Scotland. Because they take me to Heathrow only so far.
Khoda Nitai Mayapur Shashi of the UK's best kept secret.
Yes.
Did our deities have other names in some places?
I think I know. I don't recall.
Because I know at the time when they were supposed to come over, we actually had no information about them. So nobody knew, did they have names previously or were they just called Khoda Nitai, like some temples do?
Yeah, this is the most evolved name. Wonderful, wonderful.
When were they installed in San Francisco?
1986. I think we've got a record of that somewhere.
Could be that, yes. I have not.
They were made in New Vrindavan. If you look on the New Vrindavan website, you see the deities there. See the Glorification there, the identical pose. Identical pose. But ours look more beautiful. We don't need to go there for our shiny. And then from memory, I think it was 1986. Just do you remember? They were made in New Vrindavan, and then Maharaj's special master and Maharaj, he installed them. And you can see in the first picture, he was doing that art. And there was a fire yogi as well, there where he was installing the deities. He did the multi stuff. But any bit of information we can get, we put on the record, try to compile a record. However, if you knew the deities, is there any connection with them?
This time I come from San Francisco, I will gather some more information.
That'd be good, because even Jai Jagannath Prabhu, who was worshipping the deities before they came here directly, and he only knew them from when he was kind of shipped in as an emergency pujari. No experience. It just shows you how mystical those deities are. So this is the same deities as the New Vrindavan. Also very beautiful.
Oh, New Vrindavan also, yes.
Have you been to New Vrindavan, Maharaj?
Every year.
Every year?
Yeah.
And they're just, they're called growing town.
Yes.
So they were carved in New Vrindavan? They were carved in New Vrindavan?
New Vrindavan, yeah.
Yeah, there was a devotee, I don't think they were actually carved, they were molded.
Molded.
Yeah, so I think he made the molds for the New Vrindavan ones. The plan was he was going to make one Nitai for all of ISKCON temples. I think he only made the 2 sets.
And
It was JC's father, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then I think he left the temple. Those were the 2 sets of deities he did make.
So they were a mixture of resin and marble dust, put into a mold, extremely heavy.
it's very durable, no? Very durable.
I wouldn't like to drop them if I find out. But yeah, durable, certainly, obviously because they're painted, unlike marble, marble, you only need to paint the palms and maybe item because they're completely painted, and the judges had to be careful for wear and tear.
Mhm.
And we repainted them recently, and we put some extra lacquer on them so they'd be protected, but it took a bit too long to dry. So we were off the altar for a few months, but back on just last festival there.
Hare Krishna.
Mhm.
It was a few weeks ago. We were in a rickshaw on the way back from Shawshan, whose house in the town. And Karthik who sent me a photograph that we showed before. What's his route downtown Maharaj and saying he's the Khoda Nitai Mayapur Shashi, the same deities. Immediately I showed Shiguru the photograph, and Shiguru remembered, these are the deities I was initiated in front of, so everything was going down. It's very exciting to hear. It's always cool, these are the best deities that they're under rigor also in the UK. And yes, the primary fact that they've just been repainted in the past 6 months as well makes me think they wanted to get redress for the Shiguru to come and from that though, very naughty that Shiguru also said that he'd like to offer out to these deities. It'd be very nice to see that also.
Arranged with the head Pujari show, so I believe if I'm quoting correctly, Mayapur said that the most beautiful God of time is in this one.
Yeah.
I tend to agree with him. Also, just a glorification of Swarup Damdar Maharaj. If you don't know who he is, he was one of the leading devotees of the Bhakti Institute. And you can hear conversations between Bhakti Swarup Damdar Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada, which was transcribed into the book Life Comes in Life. So I recommend every devotee read that. If you're ever afraid, contend this theory that life comes from matter or the Big Bang, read that book. You won't be afraid because between Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada, Maharaj is often playing the devil's advocate, and Prabhupada very much liked it. So just as Maharaj was saying to you that he had it very dear to Prabhupada, and you could hear that Prabhupada really looked forward to these conversations. There's such an amazing rasa going on between them. And I was getting the chance with all these questions that Maharaj he's listed as Dr. Singh because he was PhD doctor in the what was the subject?
Physical organic chemistry.
And so he knew all the right questions to ask. And I've had, for us who are not all scientists, maybe some of you are, no offense, but for those who are maybe not so acquainted with the scientific terms, that helped us to understand we don't have to learn their language, which they just made up anyway. Make up a big word that nobody knows, then you sound very intelligent. So we can all do that if we want. But Prabhupada speaks in very simple logic, how this theory of the Big Bang and evolution, etc., is logical, and even a child can understand. It doesn't make sense. So that's such an inspirational book. I've read it many times and I've listened to those lectures many times. And I've always felt a very strong connection. Also, because I did personally get a chance to serve with Siddhartha Prabhu when he was in the UK.
Mhm.
And I had daily classes from Siddhartha Prabhu, so I was quite interested in back to that institute. And so, yeah, I highly recommend read that book, Life Comes in Life. One time, actually, commissioned a paperback printing of it, we distributed it all over Scotland.
Mm.
And I think there's a lack of people taking up the challenge on this, so we shouldn't be afraid to read that book. And it's just for simple logic, you can just get them on the run. So we're grateful that Marge is very dear disciples here with us. Just for a couple of days, but still it's great that you came. Of course, Marge will be getting some lecture in Q10 after the Sunday feast. So everyone please try to come for that. There's some time in the evening as well if anyone wants to meet with Marge for the darshan, some questions and answers. And then we'll email it tomorrow morning. If you want to do an arty, then the opportunities would be either an arty tonight or tomorrow.
We should show our stuff with everything else.
Okay, I'll help you organize them. Okay, well, I think we'll just call it a close now.
That's wonderful. Jai.
She's recording time. Ki. Prabhupada ki. Sruddhana Maharaj ki.
Jai.
Sruddhana Maharaj ki. Vibhavan ki.
Samavet Nitai Gaur Bhakta. Gaur Premanande.
Thank you.